Hi folks, Yani and Rad here down at Unity Gym, and today we're going to talk about some possible causes of shoulder pain or lower back pain. And this is an awesome topic for me because I've suffered from both of these. So has Rad at some stage in his training career, and it's something that I've put a lot of research into. And the root causes of most shoulder pains we'll start with are actually quite simple to fix, which is really cool because we've got all the tools you could ever possibly need down here at Unity Gym. But we're going to take you through a couple of really cool little drills that we do with just about every one of our clientele here, because the demographic that we're working in is generally people that sit down in desks all day. You would have seen a blog that I posted this week about the damage caused by seated sedentary lifestyles, and the fact that I freaking hate, I was going to swear, I pulled it back. I really I passionately dislike exercise machines, assisted exercise machines, which is why Rad and I have set up Unity Gym the way it is, to get people up out of their chair and retrain the body, harnessing the amazing physiological systems that you've got that create balance, core strength and posture. So that's what our whole foundation movement system is set up to do. Now, if you are one of the squillions of people that have fallen victim to a adaptation to your chair, then this little drill that we're going to take you through now will really help you, especially if you're starting to work out in the gym, because most of the time you will end up with shoulder problems if you don't fix this stuff. So let's get right down into it. Rad's going to demonstrate. First of all, we'll start with a long lay on the foam roller. I'll just wait till the camera catches up. So what Rad's going to do here is lay lengthways on a 90 centimetre foam roller. This is a 15 centimetre diameter foam roller. And there's three positions that we go for in his arms. The first one is the most easy, very important. You'll notice he's got palms up. So he's externally rotated his shoulders. And that's quite important, guys, because you want to open the shoulder up. If you've got palm down, then you're playing into that internal rotation that we've already created with his shoulder. So first position, externally rotate, knees are bent. Second position, he's going to start bringing his arms up above his head. Very importantly, he's got the mobility through the chest here, that his hands are on the ground, and that's super, super important, okay? Now, the last position, and this is the most advanced, is that he creates a right angle bend in the shoulder joint and a right angle bend in the elbow. And that puts a little bit more stress and stretch through the chest, especially the pec minor, and that's the deep chest muscle, which creates a lot of the problems in the internal rotation of the shoulder. So that's the first drill. If you can do that, if you can achieve that, then we actually suggest that you move to what we call a spinal mobbing or chest drape. So I'll get you to do that, where we just flip the foam roller around. Just lift the camera up a tiny bit, Lee. Yep, beautiful. Okay, so now he's going to go into what's called a chest drape, and that's what he's doing here. Very easily, he's now opening right up through the chest. What we're trying to do, guys, is stretch the intercostals and the multifidus muscles that segmentationally stabilize the ribcage and spine. So it's quite aggressive. This one requires a lot more mobility. Super important. He's still got his butt on the ground, and he's working to get his shoulders and elbows and potentially even his head on the ground. But that depends on how much flexibility and mobility you've got through your trunk area. So we're trying to reverse the effects of your chair here by opening up the chest and shoulders. Now we'll go into what's called an integrated mobbing or mobility workout, where he's going to do or perform somewhat of an ab crunch, coming up over that foam roller and back down again. This is about the third phase of this rehab that you would do once you've got a reasonable amount of mobility after passing that chest long lay on the foam roller. So you can do reps of this 10 to 15. There's really not, you can't do too much of this. It's quite a safe movement, and it's going to feel really, really good once you start to open up a little bit. Once we've passed that, we actually progress to the rings over here, and we start to hang. So I'll get the camera to come over here. So we do heaps of this. This is a huge, huge part of our program at Unity. So big that we've actually convinced the guys at Vodafone who are decking out their new office to hang these rings up in their office, because we train a lot of their upper management, and it's just so beneficial. We evolved from monkeys, and we used to use our arms to create 50% of our movement. We used to hang a lot and spend a lot of our time opening up that shoulder girdle. Now we're adapting to this chair position in front of the computer, which is disabling our shoulders and our chest. So what Rad's doing here, just using simple gravity to open up the chest and shoulders, this is hugely beneficial. It's returning the shoulder to the anatomical position that we were actually designed to function in. So very simply, he can even rock back and forward, very gently opening up the shoulders. And that's quite an aggressive. You'll get a very, very quick response to that. Now, I urge you to try this first of all by squatting down and keeping your feet on the ground. And that's going to deload some of the pressure and stress through the chest and shoulders, but it's very, very quick and beneficial. You'll get an immediate result. You cannot do that until you've got a little bit of mobility. So I suggest starting with phase one, which is that long lay on the foam roller. And now we're going to start using some more aggressive segmentational stretching devices. These two are called back balls. One of them is actually a patented back ball. You can pick that up on backballs.com, and it's BAKballs.com. This is by far the best, designed by an Australian physiotherapist for the Olympic team when they were travelling to help immediately release tension that was created on long flights overseas, international flights. It's been ripped off time and time again by different companies. This one's from AOK, a little bit softer, nicer for newbies. I really like getting down and dirty on the bad boys though. Or you can find from AOK different shaped foam roller pieces. This is amazing. This one will get a few more segments of the spine together, not quite as aggressively as this one, but it's got a nice little groove that you can see there that's been opened up for the for each of the vertebrae so that it slots in really nicely. We'll go straight to the back ball, the most aggressive one for Rad. So just spin around, I'll show you where this is going on the back. So we look for the 12th rib, which is about down here, and that's where he's going to place it. Much easier without a t-shirt, because the t-shirt, your clothing, just lift the camera up a tiny bit, Lee. The camera will, the t-shirt, the camera's not going to do anything. The t-shirt will get tangled up on the ball if you're not careful. So he's going to lay back onto this. All right, and we're going to repeat a couple of body positions. So what we're looking for is a stretch of the multifidus muscles, which stabilize each individual vertebra at a time. So he's going to open up there, a couple of big deep breaths like that, a couple of big deep breaths with his hands up over his head, and then a couple of big deep breaths giving himself a hug. Very importantly, elbow over elbow, so that he's now separating his shoulder blades. He's really opening up his shoulder blades. Once he's done that, he's going to move downward, one vertebra at a time, or one rib at a time, and just repeat those three positions. Nice big deep breath. As he's exhaling, he's really relaxing over that back ball so as to open up the vertebra on a segmentational level. And this is like instantaneous gratification. The more you need this, the more uncomfortable it's going to feel originally, guys. The rule is not more than 4 minutes on, because you can actually depress ribs if you spend too much time on there. But you should be doing this every day. If you sit in a chair every day, you should be opening up the thoracic spine every single day. If you don't do this, the risk you face is that you blow out the shoulders, and I'll demonstrate why in just a sec. So he's working from the 12th rib up to the base of his neck, each vertebra at a time. Nice big deep breaths, so probably 3 breaths, 1 breath in each of those positions, and then he just moves his body down. If you do it with your clothing on, you've got to pull your shirt really tight as you go through, otherwise it gets tangled up and turns into a bit of a nightmare. Okay, so what I'm going to do is demonstrate. You can come so let's have a look at what happens when he does not have that mobility. So if you spin around this way, come back a tiny bit. So now let's slouch forward in the thoracic. So this is what's happening to you guys when you're sitting in the chair. Now, Rad, in that position, do an overhead press. You can see that the arms aren't making or achieving a vertical position. So what has to happen now is one of two things. Either he hyperextends in the lumbar to get the dumbbells to establish a vertical position above the body, because if they're not vertical, it's going to feel a whole lot heavier, and all of a sudden your overhead press in the gym looks like the absolute definition of mediocrity, and everyone laughs at you. So what do people do? They hyperextend through the lower back to try and lift a heavier weight. Now he's got it vertical, but the shoulders are still in a really shit position. Rad even struggles to hold a shit position because he's got incredible flexibility. But what's going to happen there? Over time, the load going through the lower back is going to blow out his lower back, and he's going to end up with lower back pain. He's not going to know why. He's like, fuck, I haven't even done any lower back exercise. All I've been doing is amazing shoulders, and my shoulders are looking great. Well, as a matter of fact, your shoulders aren't looking great because they look like shit because they're still flexed forward, but they're looking hypertrophied because of the position they're in. That looks bigger than that, you know? So the other thing that will happen is he won't have the strength in his lower back or the mobility to hyperextend, so he's going to press with that position, and he's going to continue to bust up the tendons in his rotator cuff because he's forcing it through a range that it's incapable of achieving. And there's no niceties about the end result here, guys. It is a fucking destroyed shoulder capsule. What happens because of the intricacies of the way the shoulder's designed, the supraspinatus running through the shoulder is just getting jammed up in the facet joint, coming underneath the two bones and behind the clavicle. It just gets destroyed. It ends up inflamed and eventually torn or completely degenerated. The proteins in the muscle change shape because of the constant friction that's occurring there. So guys, the most important thing here to understand is if you've got shoulder pain or lower back pain, it may not necessarily be due to the shoulder or the lower back. It may be due to an incapacity to go into extension through the thoracic spine, and you're just hammering away in the wrong position. How do you fix that? Well, you've got a whole heap of tools for you to add to your toolbox now. I urge you to pick up some of these back balls, especially if you're a desk worker, if you spend a disproportionate amount of your time in a chair during the day. Most gyms and training facilities will have foam rollers, a different degree of different foam rollers. You can pick them up, AOK or eBay even now pretty much sells just about everything. Otherwise, guys, come down to Unity Gym. We've got stacks of stuff and we're always here to help. Hope that was beneficial, and I hope some of you overcome your shoulder and back pain as a result. Thanks very much.